Hey there, this lifer, how are you? Are you pumped about crushing some goals and living this life? I am so excited, can't wait to get into it today. Now yesterday we talked about some goals. We talked about short-term goals, medium-term goals, and those big, hairy, audacious goals, the BHAGs. Well, today we're going to get into those a little bit more. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about SMART goals. Now I know you're probably sitting there thinking, well, I'm smart, I can create my own goals. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is SMART goals. SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. We hit our goals, we name them, we follow through with these 5 processes. It makes it so much more achievable. What we're doing is we're talking about a plan, a roadmap of how to get from here to there to what we want. So the SMART analogy for these goals really makes life a lot easier and makes these goals far more achievable. Right, so let's start to break this down and make it a little bit easier to understand. That's the most important thing, is making sure that as we go through each of these steps, you fully understand so you can embrace it and follow through. So let's start with specific. Right? If we have a goal that's a little bit too broad, it's very hard for us to buy in. When I say buy in, I mean if it's something like, say, we wanted a happier life. Well, that's a really broad goal to have. It's a great goal, nothing wrong with the goal, but it's really broad and it's hard to be specific there and hard to follow through. But if we were to say something like, my goal for the next month is every time I walk out of the house in the morning, the first person I see, I'm going to smile at them and give them a compliment. Do you think that that could possibly lead to a happier life? I most certainly do, and I think that's a really good way to start. It's something very simple. Specific there, the specific point is we've got something to do every single day and we know exactly what it is. That makes it easier. Okay, let's talk about measurable. You're looking at me saying, Lee, what are you talking about? Okay, we're not talking about a tape measure or anything like that. What we are talking about is making it measurable so that you can see whether you're achieving the goals. We talked about wanting a happier life. Why not set a goal whereby instead of getting angry all the time, we say, okay, well today I'm not going to get upset. And then you can see that, you can measure, okay, I went through the full day and didn't get upset. Excellent, I've achieved that goal today. So it's measurable. There's a way that you can measure what's happening in that goal. The next one up is achievable. If you were given every possible opportunity, could you complete your goal? If it's not achievable, then it kind of makes it pointless, and really it's not going to help you develop and grow at all. It's only going to bring you down, and what we're trying to do is bring ourselves up. That's the most important thing there. Okay? So say it was me with these skinny little pipe cleaners of arms, and I said I wanted to do 1,000 kilo power lift. It's just not achievable. The human body can't do that. No amount of training is going to be able to allow me to do that. So that goal is not achievable and something that I certainly don't want to put on my list. The next part is realistic. Is my goal realistic? Again, if we're setting up goals that are just not realistic, then we're only setting ourselves up to fail. And that's definitely not what we want to do. We want to succeed. So let's talk about that. Say I set a goal of walking on the moon. It's not very realistic for a number of reasons. First of all, there's no manned moon missions currently happening, so it's very unlikely that I'm going to get the opportunity. Second of all, I've had no training, and no amount of training at my age is probably going to allow me to be able to do it. So it's not a realistic goal for me. But say walking on the beach is. Even if I live 100 kilometres away from the beach, realistically I can get to the beach and walk on the beach. Lastly, we've got time bound. This is crucial. Without having a time frame to complete our goals, what we're going to have is we're going to lose all of our motivation. Something pops up, next thing you know, we're not out there chasing our goals anymore. Something else has taken its place. But if we have a time frame there, then it keeps us accountable, it gives us a motivation to achieve the goal. Like in the first example I gave you of walking out on the street every morning for a month, smiling at the first person you meet. There is a time frame there on that. There's the time frame of the month, every day, the first person. So once we get those time frames in place, it keeps me accountable. It lets me achieve the goal. And that's really what we're after. Okay guys, now it's time for the fun stuff. Yesterday I asked you to write down 5 of your passions. And from those passions, we're going to set 3 goals. Now the idea at this stage is to just set short-term or medium-term goals. Let's leave those big, hairy, audacious goals or the BHAGs until we've learned to run. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to set the goals and apply the SMART process to them. So make sure that they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and you set a time frame to them. Let's make sure that they're time bound. It's really important when we set these goals that they're your goals. Not anything that I care about or your friends, your family or anyone else. They must be yours. If you want to achieve something, doesn't matter how big, how small, whatever it is, make sure it's yours, not what someone else wants to do. I couldn't think of anything worse if you have a fear of heights that someone made you jump out of a plane or went bungee jumping or something like that. You know, that may be someone else's goal, but if it's not yours, don't put it down. Let's focus on what's important to you. Attached to the video is this life list goal setting template. It's a really good tool to help you create your goals. All you do is stick in a photo of your goal along with the information. This is only for you to look at, so don't worry, put in anything you like in there. Apply the SMART process and let's create 3 really cool goals. Once you've created the goal and you're happy with it, go over to the This Lifer forum page on Facebook, fill in your 3 goals. I can't wait to see what they are and look forward to having a conversation with you in there. Okay guys, that's it for today. Make sure that you fill in those 3 goals, spend some time with it, make sure you apply the SMART process and you are invested in the goals. Once we get that, we'll start working on the next thing. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I'd like you to consider this quote from Jim Rohn. Happiness is not something you postpone for the future, it's something you design for the present.